definitions of empire is the ability to hold the lives of individuals in your hand and use that power to sway them.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that pretty much any state, any government, to some degree, is that way?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's a particularly popular opinion. I think that during different parts of church history, the church dabbled in its own experiences of empire.
Mm-hmm. Let's launch into Nebuchadnezzar's dream. So we're in chapter 2 now. Okay. This thing happens. God begins to reveal himself to the dictator of the empire. Nebuchadnezzar is God's guy. It's just that he doesn't know it.
Yeah.
But he's about to find out.
Nebuchadnezzar has a dream and is terrified by it. And he desperately needs to know what this dream means. And I don't know if it's because he has trust issues or if he creates this impossible situation for his advisors and tells them, I need you to interpret this dream. Your life depends on it. And if you can't interpret this dream for me, I'm going to cut you into pieces.
Yeah. Chapter 2 from 36 to 45, where Daniel actually, it's a second telling of the dream, but he's interpreting it. This was the dream, and now we will interpret it to the king. Your majesty, you are the King of kings. The God of heaven has given you dominion and power and might and glory. In your hands he has placed all mankind and the beasts of the field and the birds in the sky. Wherever they live, he has made you ruler over them all. You are that head of gold. Pause there for a minute. Interesting concept to think that anybody who has great authority, religious, non-religious, whatever, has it from God.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a universal principle or if it just happened in this one case, but think about Vladimir Putin as having authority from God. And for whatever reason,
the people of Ukraine right now would like to question that, I think.
Yeah. After you, another kingdom will arise inferior to yours. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. Finally, there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron. For iron breaks and smashes everything, and as iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all the others. So tell us kind of the understanding of who these kingdoms are.
I think the immediate context of the book will tell you what the kingdoms are. The kingdom, the progression is leading to ultimately the demise of the oppressor, ultimately landing on an oppressor that is a divided kingdom that can't stand, which is why they're the feet.
Just as you saw, the feet and toes were partly of baked clay and partly of iron, so this will be a divided kingdom. Yet it will have some of the strength of iron in it, even as you saw iron mixed with clay, as the toes were partly iron and partly clay, so this kingdom will be partly strong and partly brittle. And just as you saw the iron mixed with baked clay, so the people will be a mixture and will not remain united any more than iron mixes with clay. It's interesting that empires always gobble up and assimilate other cultures, other peoples, and that seems to be the root of their demise.
Yeah, it's an interesting history to kind of look back at some of the ways that all of these kingdoms and how God preserved a remnant throughout that, preserved a group of people who followed the ways of God.
Well, this is the part I like. In the time of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, nor will it be left to another people. It will crush all those kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it will itself endure forever. This is the meaning of the vision of the rock cut out of a mountain, not by human hands, a rock that broke the iron, bronze, clay, silver, and gold to pieces. The great God has shown the king what will take place in the future. The dream is true and the interpretation is trustworthy. And earlier it describes the rock hitting the feet, destroying everything, and then that rock is all that's left. And then it turns into this mountain, like the mountain of the Lord. People often equate that fourth kingdom to be the Roman Empire, and the interesting coincidence that the kingdom of God really amplifies during the Roman Empire, and eventually you can make an argument that Christianity weakens and destroys Rome. The tough Romans were weakened by the merciful Christians, and eventually things just got weak and they unraveled. Um, and I don't know if there's been new phases of the statue, if you were to apply this metaphor as history continued, or if we're just in a phase where all kingdoms are being destroyed by the kingdom. It's interesting to me. You look at China; it's like China's pregnant with the kingdom of God and can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Throughout history, the kingdom has always flourished under, and that's even one of the most amazing parts of the story of Daniel is over and over and over, Daniel is promoted
Mm-hmm.
in the context of an oppressive regime. Within the context of persecution, like the church always grows, the church always thrives. I think that's interesting. That you mentioned that whole rise and fall of the Roman Empire and how that kind of happens. It's really at that moment where the church gains power that it begins to dabble in its own expressions of empire. It no longer is being oppressed; it becomes the oppressor.
Well, I think you described the spirit of that. I'm going to come and conquer Boulder. Yeah. I'm going to come in and like some conquering hero and subdue, as opposed to I want to love the people in Boulder who need hope, or whatever. And of course, Jesus made a real big deal about what leadership is, and it's not empire. That's for sure.
Yeah.